Jake, a 35-year-old financial analyst, was known for his calm and devoted nature, always putting his marriage above all else. He valued commitment and loyalty, traits he held dear in his relationship with his wife, Lily. Lily, on the other hand, a 32-year-old marketing specialist, was vibrant and outgoing, craving excitement and freedom. She often felt that her marriage restrained her, and the weight of her desires for independence grew heavier with each passing day. Max, a 36-year-old businessman and Jake's longtime friend, had a deep understanding of relationships. Always present to lend an ear or offer advice, Max was someone Jake could rely on, even when not directly asked. One evening, as Jake and Lily dined in a cozy, softly lit Italian restaurant, the quiet hum of conversation around them contrasted with the tension brewing between the couple. Lily, fidgeting with her wine glass, appeared distracted, her eyes scanning the room restlessly. Jake, sensing something was off, quietly observed her, unsure of what was going on in her mind. After a deep breath, she finally turned to him with a troubled expression, her words coming hesitantly. "I've been thinking, maybe we could try something. Something to bring back the spark." Jake, puzzled, chuckled softly. "What do you mean, Lily?" he asked, his brow furrowing. Lily hesitated for a moment before continuing, her voice barely above a whisper. "Maybe we could give each other a free pass, just to see if there's something we're missing out on." The words hit Jake like a wave crashing against the shore, his mind scrambling to process what she had just proposed. A free pass? The concept was foreign to him, and he felt a mixture of disbelief and hurt swirling inside him. He took a slow breath, trying to remain composed, and asked, "So, you're suggesting we see other people?" Lily quickly clarified, her tone almost apologetic. "No, not permanently. Just a one-time opportunity to explore, to see if there's something we're missing out on." Jake's heart sank. The thought that Lily might not hold their marriage in the same regard as he did was painful. But rather than reacting with anger, he kept his composure, sensing that a knee-jerk response wouldn't solve anything. His mind raced, trying to understand Lily's perspective. "If that's truly what you desire, Lily," Jake said, his voice low and measured, "we will discuss it further once we are home." The rest of their dinner passed in intense silence, each lost in their own thoughts. Jake, though outwardly calm, felt turmoil stirring inside. As they returned home that evening, Lily fell asleep soundly beside him. But Jake lay awake, staring at the ceiling, replaying their conversation in his mind. The idea of a free pass lingered like a shadow over him, leaving him questioning if Lily's suggestion was a covert way for her to explore an affair. Yet, determined not to act impulsively, Jake decided on a measured approach. Acknowledging Lily's request allowed him to glimpse into her true feelings, perhaps a longing for freedom or excitement that she felt the marriage had stifled. But Jake couldn't ignore the need to safeguard his own sense of self-respect. He needed a solution that would grant Lily the freedom she craved while protecting his emotional well-being. Without delay, he reached for his phone and texted Max. "Are you available for a discussion?" Moments later, Max's voice came through the phone, filled with concern. "Jake, what's wrong? Are you okay?" he asked, sensing the gravity of the situation. Jake opened up, recounting the entire exchange with Lily. After a long pause, Max finally responded, his tone serious. "Jake, this isn't just about you. This is about her lack of respect for the bond you've built together. If you can handle it calmly, I'll support you. But be aware of your actions." Jake knew in that moment that he had to stay true to his own principles. "I've made my decision," he replied firmly. "I'm going to offer her this free pass, but on my terms." Over the next few days, Jake noticed a subtle shift in the dynamic between him and Lily. She seemed to believe he had accepted her proposal, and she became more affectionate, perhaps anticipating a reciprocal gesture. Jake, however, remained distant, carefully observing her every move. He knew something was amiss. One evening, as they relaxed together watching TV, Jake casually brought up the topic again. "So, have you thought about who you might want to use your free pass on?" he asked, his voice light but probing. Lily appeared taken aback, her eyes widening before she quickly recovered, forcing a nervous laugh. "I haven't really thought about anyone specific," she said, her voice trailing off. "I just thought maybe we could both explore something new and exciting. Don't you ever feel bored?" Jake managed to chuckle, masking the unease that was beginning to gnaw at him. He could tell Lily was lying. Her restlessness was becoming more apparent. She had started coming home later from work, her behavior subtly changing in ways he couldn't ignore. Something was brewing, and Jake was determined to find out what it was. Meanwhile, Jake began to put his own plan into motion. Discreetly, he consulted with a lawyer to lay the groundwork for protecting his assets, just in case things took an unexpected turn. He started organizing his personal affairs, making copies of important documents and quietly moving some of his belongings to Max's place, all without Lily's knowledge. Then, one evening, Lily announced she was going out for a girls' night with some friends. Jake, maintaining his calm, wished her a good time as she left. But as she walked out the door, he caught a stronger than usual whiff of her perfume, a scent lingering in the air, leaving him with a growing sense of suspicion. He knew something wasn't right, but he was ready to play his cards carefully, whatever the outcome. Lily stepped out that night, dressed to the nines, her every move calculated and deliberate. Jake's stomach twisted as he watched her, a surge of emotion rising in him. His fists clenched, but he held his composure, offering a calm, impassive expression. "Have fun, Lily," he said, his voice smooth but distant. Once she was gone, Jake sat alone in the empty house that once felt like home. The rooms, once filled with laughter and shared memories, now seemed tainted, each corner reminding him of the love that was slowly unraveling. His heart heavy, Jake poured himself a drink, using the alcohol to steady his nerves as he waited for Lily's return. His mind racing with thoughts he couldn't quite suppress. Hours passed, and the minutes stretched endlessly as he waited, his anxiety building. Finally, in the early hours of the morning, the door creaked open. Lily stepped inside, her makeup slightly smudged, her eyes flickering with a mixture of smugness and discomfort. Jake greeted her casually, masking the storm brewing inside him. He said nothing at first, concealing the weight of what he knew. His silence seemed to almost disappoint her, as if she expected him to ask, to interrogate her, to show jealousy. But Jake simply remarked, "I hope you got what you wanted out of it, Lily. I hope it was worth it." The next morning, as they sat down for breakfast, the tension between them was palpable. Jake's voice was calm, but his eyes bore into her, searching for any hint of sincerity. "Did you enjoy your free pass, Lily?" he asked, the words coming out cold, almost detached. Lily laughed nervously, trying to downplay the gravity of the situation. "It was just a one-time thing, Jake," she said, her tone light. "Let's not take it too seriously. It's still us, right?" But Jake's demeanor hardened. His mask finally cracked, revealing the depth of his pain and frustration. "Hardly," he replied, standing up, the weight of his words filling the air between them. "Because it doesn't feel that way. Do you even realize how much I've sacrificed for this relationship, Lily? And yet, you decide you need a free pass without a second thought." Lily was caught off guard by his intensity, stumbling over her words. "Jake, I thought you desired this too. You had the opportunity to go out as well, but you chose not to." Jake's eyes narrowed. "That's the difference between us, Lily. I placed great importance on loyalty. You, on the other hand, were curious about what else was out there. Well, congratulations. You've been granted your freedom." In the days that followed, Jake became increasingly emotionally distant, retreating into himself as he silently began putting his final plans into action. He had taken all the necessary precautions to protect himself, his heart now as guarded as his assets. The time for departure had arrived. One evening, Jake told Lily they needed to have a serious conversation. His voice was steady, but there was an edge to it. He suggested they meet at the same restaurant where she had first introduced the idea of a free pass. When they arrived, Jake sat across from her, his expression unreadable. He carefully unfolded a document and placed it on the table, the paper almost seeming to tremble with significance. I wanted to give you something, Lily, he said, his tone even. Consider it a gift in response to your request for freedom. Lily picked up the document, her fingers shaking as she scanned it. Her face went pale as she realized what it was. A separation agreement. Her breath caught in her throat. The weight of the decision hit her all at once. Jake, this is not what I intended, Lily said, her voice cracking. I only wanted to add some excitement to our relationship. It doesn't mean I don't love you. Please. Jake remained stoic, his eyes cold. Love and loyalty are not fleeting privileges. Lily, he replied, his voice devoid of emotion. You desired freedom and I'm granting it to you. Consider this your pass to freedom. The final one you'll receive from me. Lily's expression crumbled as the reality of what she had forfeited settled in. She reached out to him, but Jake gently withdrew his hand, the action final and resolute. No, Lily, he said softly. I'm giving you exactly what you wanted. A life liberated from commitment. A life without me. The silence in the restaurant grew heavy, as if the very air around them was holding its breath. Jake rose from the table, his decision made. He turned and walked away, leaving Lily to grapple with the consequences of her actions, with a lifetime of remorse unfolding in her mind. As Jake stepped into his car and drove away, an unexpected wave of relief washed over him. His heart still ached, but there was a sense of peace in knowing he had stayed true to himself. He hadn't betrayed his own values, and though the road ahead would be difficult, he was ready to forge ahead, maintaining his self-respect and moving on from the pain. This chapter in his life had closed, but he had learned the hard way that sometimes walking away is the only way to truly find peace.